Hello everyone, Meteorologist Carly Smith here.
Hello everyone.
We are live with a severe thunderstorm warning that is in effect for northern B County. So this is going to be for areas such as Pawnee, Pettis, Normanna. All of these areas are under a risk for some really large hail. You can see a lot of lightning. That indicates that this updraft is really strong. And so this is really what we are watching very closely today. Now this is all to our north. There's more storms that are developing off to the west. For the most part right now, these storms are moving east. So it's going to be a while before anything gets remotely close to Corpus Christi. But this is, if you know anyone up in a northern B County, you definitely want to make sure they are alert. Share this with them. Make sure they know, especially for the Pettis area, that strong to severe thunderstorms that are capable of producing baseball-sized hail. I hate to say that, but baseball-sized hail is going to be possible. Golf ball right now is what they're going with. Golf ball-sized hail, probably a little bit more likely, but our radar is indicating that it is nearing 2 inches in diameter. So actually, to get to that baseball size, it would need to be 2.75. But I know the National Weather Service, oh, they did say golf ball. For some reason, I definitely read baseball, so that is my bad. But golf ball size hail is likely. Our radar is indicating 2 inches, so 2 inches in diameter would be about the size of a hen egg. Then once you get to 2.5 inches, you get tennis ball. 2.75 inches is going to be that baseball sized hail. So yes, it is a very strong thunderstorm, and it is moving to the east at 35 miles per hour. So 35 miles per hour, definitely some big hail. Don't take any photos when it is dangerous, but after the storm, if it passes, please post your photos so we can get confirmation of this. I'm going to turn off the lightning so we can actually see the radar and get a good look at what is going on underneath all of that lightning. So this is where the hail would be. It would be just past Pawnee now. So that's going to be right here is where the hail core would be. And again, it's moving east this direction. So, of course, I'm not still logged into Facebook, but that's okay. It is moving again to the east at about 30 miles per hour, so we can track this. Track. Again, here's the hail. It is getting a little weaker, so hail now being reported at 1.6. And if this is moving east, here at 30 miles per hour, that will have it moving into Goliad County here shortly. So we're going to get it to Goliad at 221, but right now it is in northern. Right here, this is where all the hail is. It's going across 181, so the hail core really hasn't done that quite yet. It's approaching that right now as we speak. That hail core is going across 181. This is even if it's at golf ball versus baseball, like I originally said, so I am changing that now if I can, regardless, this is a really strong storm. Anything over 1 inch in diameter is going to be capable of producing some hail damage that can result in damage to your cars, damage to your roofs, and damage to your homes. So definitely a dangerous situation. You don't want to be outside during this type of scenario, this type of storm. It can be, again, a dangerous situation. And so it's best to just take shelter. Even the lightning itself, when we turn back on the radar, what you are going to notice is all of the lightning. That's dangerous in itself, with or without the hail and the wind associated. Now the wind really isn't, well, actually the wind is picked up there near Pettis. We are starting to see some wind that is 64 miles an hour, which is severe. Originally, when the storm was warned, they were only going, the wind wasn't the issue, it was the hail. But now I would say it's both. So that could cause some tree damage, power lines knocked down, so forth. That is all possible. Again, right across 181. This is all north of Beeville. So if you're watching from Beeville and you're like, is this going to hit me? The answer is no, not yet at least. This storm will not. The one with the really large hail and the strong wind, that one is going to pass to your north. So again, I was getting some updates across the board, but Pettis, that is going to be where the strongest wind and then the hail core following behind that. So when we look at the hail core, we go back to the radar imagery. We take off the lightning, and it does appear that the hail core is weakening. So watch this. Right here, it just to the east. So it looks like it strengthened just east of Pawnee. Then that's where the hail core would have been its worst, right here, east of Pawnee. So if you know any farmland or ranches or homes in this area, that's where the hail would be the worst. And then watch what happens as we continue along. I think it's becoming a little bit more outflow dominant, which is one of the reasons why probably the wind has gotten stronger. So right here is where we got our really strong updraft. And then boom, you can kind of tell it's even starting to bow out a little bit. It's becoming a little bit more wind driven. And that means that the updraft has been released. So essentially the way that hail develops is you have to have a strong enough updraft in order to support that hail. So the stronger the updraft, the more lightning you're gonna get, and then also the larger the hail you're gonna get. And it has to be tilted just a little bit, but not a lot, because if it's the updraft's tilted a lot, the hail goes out, and then it falls immediately, or the rain goes out and falls immediately. But if it's tilted just enough, then it's still supported by the updraft. You get water particles that are just crashing against each other like this, right? Water and ice, that's what's in the storm. Water and ice particles, and then up there, it is freezing up there in the cloud, and so as the water, super cooled water, hits those ice crystals, it accumulates on it. So you get a bigger and bigger piece of ice, and that is how hail forms, is it just keeps going up and down in that updraft, and the updraft is strong enough to support it. But once it gets out of that tilt, or once the weight of that updraft gets too strong, or weight of what would become the downdraft gets too strong for the updraft to support it, then it all kind of falls at once, and it kind of becomes what is known as outflow dominant. Sometimes those can become downburst, but I don't necessarily see that here. But what I do see is that the wind got really strong after the hail peaked, after that hail core imagery peaked. So we're still seeing another uptick as this is passing through Pettis right now of the bigger hail. Now this is getting closer to tennis ball sized hail. This warning, again, it is a severe thunderstorm warning that is in place until 2:15. 2:15 p.m. The current time is 1:49 p.m. So 2:15 p.m. Goliad County is now included in this severe alert. The updraft kind of picked itself back up again, so we are getting another pretty large radar signature. When you're seeing the pinks, that's not a good sign. That larger radar signature right here is going to be where the hail is. So Pawnee, you are safe now. And by safe, there's still some storms following behind, but nothing is as strong as the one that already passed through. And essentially, we are going to see all of these slowly drifting south through the night. And so right now, what we have is the severe thunderstorm watch that is until 4 p.m. for just B, Live Oak, and then into McMullen County and areas to the north and west of us. However, when we take a look at Futurecast, so this is a little behind. This exact model is a little behind, I would say. On the timeline, because it doesn't have storms in northern B or Live Oak County till like 4 or 5. So I would say I would expect this a little sooner, maybe not a lot sooner. Right now it's 1:51, so I would say maybe 3 o'clock. Would be this image. So about 3 p.m., 4 p.m., 5 p.m., 6 p.m., 7 p.m., 8 p.m. So that's when this line of storms is going to push through Corpus Christi and then eventually along the coast. So that's model number 1. Let's see if we have. I think this is the same model. I'm going to find the different model in a second. Yeah, and that's not even starting at the current time. That's all confused on the time. Okay, so this model is doing a lot better on how it is initiating, and that's a good sign. We want to look at a model that initiates right exactly what's going on, and right there we're on target. So here we have it. It looks like still the strongest activity is expected to be kind of along 281 and northeast of there. So what's essentially going to happen is these storms are likely going to form some outflow boundaries. They're going to move into our warm, humid air mass, and they're going to, with some rain-cooled air, and that's going to allow for some storms to possibly start developing to the south. Also, while a weak front is moving through and a dry line is interacting with our atmosphere. So a lot is going on, but essentially what we are going to see is anytime between now and about, let's call it 7 p.m., we are going to see storms moving through the coastal bend. And so they're going to move slowly. Most of the activity is still going to stay north. I think this has the storms moving through Refugio a little early and Sinton. I think an in-between of the first model I showed you and this one is a good bet. So I would say around 4 or 5 is more likely for areas from Rockport to Sinton, Corpus Christi, Alice. Let's call it 4 to 6 p.m. is when I would be looking out for storms a little bit farther to the south here. When it comes to rain, okay, so this was the percentages I drew yesterday. They're probably a little underdoing it. I'm going to get rid of all of these, and we're going to look at the contour. Okay, here we have it. So anywhere from an inch of rain, mostly along and northeast of 281. A little bit less rain further to the south. And then let's look at the other model while we are here. So some isolated areas could get closer to 2 inches of rain. And the last one. This one keeping more of the rain closer to Rockport. So not a lot of agreement. That's what happens when we're so focused on little minute details. But isolated areas could easily get those 2 inches of rainfall. I'm going to go back to the radar and get the latest information on that warning. And then I'll try to answer any questions you might have. A lot of lightning and a lot of pink now showing up. Let's see what the hail track is. So the hail core is now moving out of B County and into Goliad County, but still, regardless, well, we were looking pretty high up in the atmosphere. So something interesting is there we have it. So there was, I don't know what radar that was using because it shows a lot of pink. So it's any of them from Del Rio, Houston, Austin, Brownsville, Corpus. The higher up in the atmosphere, the more hail you're going to be seeing than closer to the surface. The hail does essentially melt a bit as it falls to the ground as well. So whatever is getting picked up in the higher points of the atmosphere doesn't always translate down to the surface. So we'll use the Corpus Christi radar to get more of that surface look. And you do see, once again, the hail core weakening again, and the velocity still in that bowing motion, but still the strongest velocity is right where that hail core is going to be as it is tracking into Goliad County. So at this time, the worst of the storm has passed 181, and so I am going to go ahead and end this live video, but if anything else pops up throughout the night, it does look like if we see any new development, there is an outflow boundary that is now right here. So we could start to see some new development along that outflow boundary. We have a couple of lightning strikes. That's probably more from an anvil from kind of the clouds that shoot out away from the thunderstorm. But there are some lightning strikes further south. There is a line right here that's developed from the outflow from this storm. So as that interacts with our hot temperatures, which are right now at 91, so you can see how much cooler it is where the rain is. Beeville has dropped to 89, and you're not even seeing the most rain, right? So you're getting that rain-cooled air now through Beeville versus Orange Grove, which that reading might be a little skewed. I don't know if that monitors the best, but Orange Grove 105, I think that's a little high. Robstown 91, Kingsville 98. So we've got some pretty high readings south. So once that rain-cooled air starts interacting with our 90s and higher, then there is a chance that a few storms are going to develop and then move in sooner. So that's what I will be watching. Again, that little area that could see some storm development next is going to be through Beeville and George West. So Beeville to George West. Once again, that severe thunderstorm warning is until 2:15. Still a lot of lightning and heavy rainfall in northern B County, but the worst of it is now moved east of you guys. So with that being said, I am going to end this Facebook Live, but I'll pop on anytime is needed. We've also got the news live at 5, of course. And if anything is really urgent, we will be on TV as well. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope everyone stays safe and weather aware today.